Alright, welcome back. This is the second video in how to make a webbook. So as I mentioned before in the previous video, these webbooks are in fact mini websites. So just like any other website, it needs to be hosted on a server. So you will need web hosting, and it's going to need its own unique URL. So you will need domain registration. There's quite a few web hosts and domain registrars, but the one I like to use is HostGator. I've used them in the past and I haven't had any problem. So we're going to use that for this one. So in this video, I'm going to take you through the steps of how to start this from scratch, assuming you don't have a website and you can't make a subdomain. We'll go through the other way after this video. So, starting with your web host and your domain registration, click on HostGator. And it takes you to this. So if you're only doing one of them, if you're only having one website, you might want to go for the Hatchling plan with HostGator. You only have one domain, so that's one website, and you still have unmetered bandwidth and one-click installs, so it's not going to vary in terms of that, but it starts off at $2.64 a month. And of course there's restrictions on that, and the $2.64 is assuming that you're taking it over a long period of time. So, if you're planning on having more, if you're doing a number of the webbooks, then you might want to consider a plan which allows you to have unlimited domains. And so you might want the baby plan. Or you could go for the business plan. The advantage of going for the business plan is you have this website security additional features here. You've got a dedicated IP address, and you also get better support services if something goes wrong. But having the positive SSL makes your website more secure. If you're using a cheap domain, that's not going to be a problem. So let's click through and find out what the next step would be. So what you would have to do is register a domain. Now the .com domains are very popular. So if this webbook is going to be linked to your main website, you might want to take one of these other domains here, which end in, instead of with .com, with something else like .online or .site or .website or .net or .biz or .info. Any of those will generally cost you a little bit less. But just say you're sticking with a .com because you want the search engines in Google to be able to rank your site better. You might put, for instance, if you're doing a webbook on a property, you might go property address. 11 Regents Street, Warner's Bay. And as you can see, there is very little competition. When you click through to this section, it will give you the amount of money to register for 1 year for this particular web address with the .com, and it will show you all of the others. Now, what some people like to do is they will get some of these others as well. So if somebody's clicking through on one of these addresses, which is not a .com, it will transfer to the .com address. So that's all the options for you. So just say you've made that selection and you're going to go with that particular website address because that's the webbook that you're going to build. It's for that property, 11 Regent Street, Warners Bay, just assuming this is for a real estate business and you're actually selling that property or you're going to be renting it. Then it comes down to choose the plan. So we've got that's all selected because we click through on the package type being the baby plan. And then we've got the billing cycle here at 36 months. So that's 3 years and it's going to be $3.78 a month. And that works out pretty cheap. But you don't have to have it for that long. Just say you don't want this address any longer than, say, 3 months. It would be $11.95 a month. Or $1, or for 1 month it would be $11.95 as well. Or perhaps you want it for a year. And that's your choice there. So the longer you have it, the less it costs you per month. And you'll find that similar no matter what domain registrar or host you go through. You've got the choice here to add a PIN. That's not essential. So you would enter all of your billing information here with your email address, put your first name in the company, fill out the phone number, address details, select your country. So you'd put Australia and pop the code and city name there. And you've got a choice to pay with PayPal or credit card. And you just fill out the name of the card. So, all the international firms now have been told by the Australian federal government to collect GST. And this is an extra step. So, if you are doing this on behalf of business, then type the Australian business number, the ABN, in this box here. Here are some additional services. Now, what you find is these are almost automatically checked, but you probably don't want them. So just make sure as you go through to uncheck them. And if you've got a coupon code for this to take a bit of money off, a discount, if you can find one around, you put it in there and you click validate. And that's what you're looking at. So they will ask you to pay up front. And so that's your hosting and your domain registration at $198, and that's assuming that you're going to take the 3 years plan, and you just click here that you've read the terms and conditions and head on to the checkout. So that's how you get your domain registered and also sign up for a plan, assuming that you don't have a website already and you can't set up a subdomain. You would need to do this step first. Then after this step, what you need to do is you need to install WordPress. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how to set things up by using a subdomain of your main website. And that would save you having to spend more money on registering a new domain. The steps after that are all the same. So you'll still need to install WordPress. You'll still need to get a theme, and you will still need to get the plugins needed to build the website. So in the next video, we're going to go from creating a new subdomain, and then after that, installing WordPress. So once you have registered your domain, if you're starting from scratch, and you've got web hosting, you would then move on to installing WordPress. So skip to the video after the next one if you've already got a subdomain. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video and I'll show you how to set this up from a subdomain.